zip up your members-only jacket, crack open a tab, and pause your Walkman as we bring you to the 1980s.
Welcome to the 80s Show podcast, where we talk about all things 1980s, from movies to TV shows, music and stars, fads and fashions. We'll talk about anything and everything to do with the 1980s.
The 1980s, the best decade in decades.
All right, well, we are your hosts. My name is Bill Lassiter alongside Damien Raffelli. Welcome once again to the podcast. We're doing it's actually our holiday special number one, Damien. We're going to have two holiday specials over the next couple of weeks, which is pretty great. You can go ahead and follow us on Twitter at 80 Show Podcast. That's at 80 Show Podcast. Also look us up on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to contribute to the show, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at 80showpodcast@gmail.com. All right, Damien, what do we have going on today?
We're going to talk about 80s holiday TV specials as well as 80s toys that we received as Christmas gifts.
That's right. And we're also going to cover an 80s urban legend, a quick 80s urban legend later on the program, and some exciting news here on the podcast. We have a new sponsor for the podcast. We're sponsored by Yugo, which is a European import car, in case you didn't know, because everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Now only $3,990.
All right, Damien, the first segment we have on the show today is our favorite 1980s holiday TV specials. Every year there's TV specials for Christmas. Sometimes they're live action. Sometimes they're cartoons, things like that.
Claymation.
Sometimes they are claymation. And we actually, after we talk about ours, we hit the streets this episode and heard from some of you listeners about what your favorite 80s holiday TV specials were. So we'll get to you in a minute. But Damien, so as you think back on the 1980s and you look at all those great Christmas specials, holiday specials on TV, what was your favorite? What was your favorite 80s holiday TV special?
Well, it has to be from one of my favorite 80s TV shows of all time. That would be Different Strokes.
Oh, yeah. Different. Now, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum, guys.
What you talking about, Santa Claus?
That's true. That's true. All right. So apparently Different Strokes had a 80s holiday special at some point?
Yeah, they had at least one. And my favorite one I rewatched this week, it was in season 5, which I believe would have been the Christmas of 82.
Okay.
And it starred Garrett Morris, who was one of the original cast members of SNL.
That's right. Yeah. And he was like so you start talking about this, I kind of think about this. Was he like a sidewalk Santa? I remember him like in the episode, not in real life.
Yeah, not in real life.
Hopefully he's not right now. I don't know.
Yeah. He just finished up on Two Broke Girls.
Oh, okay.
Which is a funny show. So, yeah, he did. He played, it was kind of like a Salvation Army. It was of course, we find out it was a made-up charity. It was a scam for orphans who needed Christmas gifts. Right. And so he's there not far from Park Avenue where the Drummonds lived.
Okay.
And he's, got his really, really bad, dirty Santa suit on, ringing his bell.
Okay.
And so
basically running a scam.
Absolutely. Definitely running a scam.
And Arnold didn't buy it, right? He saw right through it?
No, he's very trusting and he bought all into a hook, line, and sinker. Well, the synopsis is that Arnold blew all the money he made working for his dad's for Mr. Drummond's corporation, his new dad, and he blew it all on an ET clock that had in the middle where the heart would be was the clock, and then the neck extended when the alarm went off. And they even showed it in the
Wait a second. I would blow my paycheck today, a month's pay today, just to buy that thing.
Yeah, and that's when ET came out, too, that year. So
that's great.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely worth the money. So rather than buying gifts for his brother and his sister and his dad and their housekeeper, now this wasn't Mrs. Garrett. This is the one that came after that, Mrs. Pearl, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
So he has to find out a way to make money, and he runs into Santa Claus on the street, and he's telling him all this. Of course, he realizes it's not the real Santa Claus. And so Garrett Morris, Santa Claus, who plays Mr. Jones, he offers him a job, helping him out in the street. So he puts him in a little Santa Claus costume.
Nice.
And so he and Garrett Morris are on the street raising money. And of course, as cute as Arnold is, people are giving more money, is raising money. Mr. Drummond comes along. Of course, he realizes that Mr. Drummond has a lot of money on Park Avenue, owns a corporation. Mr. Drummond invites him over to help him give gifts to his children on Christmas Eve. So he surprises, Arnold and Kimberly and Willis with Santa Claus that night. Rascally old Santa Claus sticks some putty in the door on his way out so it doesn't lock on Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
And in the middle of the night, he comes back in with his elves. People actually dress like elves. And they steal not only the Christmas gifts, they steal the Christmas tree. Of course, it's got sterling silver ornaments and stuff on it.
You're on Park Avenue. You're the Drummonds.
Yeah. They wake up, and of course, Christmas morning's a bust. No gifts. Life's rough on Park Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
And
really
so
tough.
Arnold has to work. Christmas Day is the big day for giving. So he's got to go down.
Yeah, because I'm always thinking, what am I going to do Christmas Day? I know, go to the mall and give money to the Salvation Army. On Christmas Day.
Exactly. So that's what I do every Christmas. That's especially as a kid. So he goes down there and, Arnold, even though he lost everything, he still had a gift for Mr. Jones, for Santa Claus, and it broke his heart. He found out Arnold grew up poor and his parents were poor. Anyway, it turns out Mr. Jones gets the spirit of Christmas after all, like the real Santa Claus, and he gives all the gifts back.
Hang on, Damien. I need to get a tissue for my tears that are falling down my face right now. Now, did he use the famous line somewhere in the episode? Was somebody talking about something that he wanted to know?
I do believe he said, "What you talking about?"
To who?
To Willis.
Oh, to Willis. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Is that the famous line? What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, what you talking about, Willis? Well, it's not Willis, whoever. But okay, that is a great memory, Damien. Oh, you just watched it? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, It was a memory, and I rewatched it.
No, I love those Christmas specials on the TV shows, and of course Arnold Jackson's a great character. But he must be like 8. So an 8-year-old kid's got a job. Like what's going on with that? Like 12? Maybe he's 12.
There's no labor laws in the 80s.
I guess not. Well, I had a job in the 80s. I was a paper boy in the 80s. So that's
technically he was an actor working as a child anyway. So
that's a good point.
Although he might have been 30 or 8 when he made that TV show.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
You never know. You see a picture of him and you don't know how old he is, 40 or 12.
R.I.P.
Wow. Yep. So Damien, I went deep into the vault to think about the Christmas special that I wanted to watch, or that I remembered as watching when I was a kid. There's a He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special that came out in 1985, and Skeletor's the one who finds the Christmas spirit in that. Of course, the classic Chipmunks Christmas, where the Christmas song came from that episode. There was actually, I dug pretty deep. There was actually a Ziggy. Do you remember Ziggy, the cartoon Ziggy?
Oh, I love Ziggy cartoons.
Yeah,
awesome.
There was a Ziggy's cartoon special, animated special called Ziggy's Gift. That's pretty crazy. That was pretty cool. I'll have to watch that sometime, and we'll review that for next holiday special. But the one that I'm going to talk about today came on in 1982, and it was from a TV show that was around, but it was actually a primetime TV special, and it was Christmas Comes to Pac-Land. Nope, not Green Bay, Wisconsin. Pac-Land, which was home to famous 80s icon Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. I always thought that was weird. It's Miss Pac-Man.
Well, I guess they weren't married. Wasn't he just chasing her around?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I remember from the game. So the TV show came out in fall of '82, and they decided to do a Christmas special. So Christmas Comes to Pac-Land. So basically, it's Christmas Eve. Santa's delivering the toys to the boys and girls of the world. I don't know if he's delivering it to the ghost boys and girls, because the ghosts are in that, or the Pac boys and girls. I don't even know what you call Pac. I don't know, Pac people. But Santa crashes his sleigh in Pac-Land. So then Pac-Man has got to save the day. He has to save Christmas. He talks the evil ghosts out of chomping them, quote unquote, chomping them, so that he could help Santa and get the reindeer back flying. And so what he does is he takes the reindeer to the Power Pellet Forest, the famous Power Pellet from Pac-Man, the video game. Of course, they eat the Power Pellets. They regain their strength and their power. Santa even says, "I've never seen Rudolph's nose shine so bright," which was great homage to the famous Christmas song. And Pac-Man ends up saving Christmas by getting Santa and his sleigh back up off the ground. Beautiful.
it's heart-wrenching.
You're not crying like I was crying for yours.
Spirit of Christmas.
Spirit of Christmas. So we went out and talked to some of our listeners out on the street to find out what their favorite 1980s TV special was, and here is what they had to say. All right, what was your favorite 1980s Christmas holiday TV special?
So for me, I saw Frosty the Snowman and A Charlie Brown Christmas Story. I know that came out sooner, but that's what I saw growing up.
And you?
I really enjoyed Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but really got upset at the adult reindeer who did not know how to treat Rudolph better. Like, what was that all about?
All right, there you go. What was all that about? All right, what was your favorite 1980s like TV special around Christmas?
I'm going to have to go with Snoopy's Christmas special, even though that was probably in the 70s, but it's something so classic you can still watch it.
And were there any special lines that you remembered from that movie?
Yes, when the bus driver kicks Snoopy off the bus and he says, "No dogs allowed."
There you go. The classic Christmas song, "No Dogs Allowed." What about you? What was your favorite 1980s Christmas TV special?
Okay, so I feel like my parents weren't into that, so I didn't really watch any. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to Scrooge because it is a movie about filming a Christmas special. And I remember the commercials for it were killing people because it was too scary.
All right. And what about you? What was your favorite Christmas TV special?
So I remember one that was called "'Tis the Season to Be Smurfy."
Oh yeah, the classic
Yes.
Smurf tale.
And
of Christmas.
I liked Hefty Smurf because I wanted to be buff like him. So that's why I watched it.
Yeah, Baby Jesus Smurf. That was awesome. All right. There you have it.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
I bought my Yugo because now I can afford a brand new car. I like the rack and pinion steering and the front wheel drive.
The 87 Yugo GV is still only $39.90.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Something else that's synonymous with holidays, with Christmas, with Hanukkah would be gifts.
That's right. So we're going to talk about our favorite 80s toy or Christmas gift that we got. Now, we did in episode 1, we did talk about Damien's favorite Christmas toy, which was the Cabbage Patch Kid, and then mine was the laser tag.
I think you have that reversed.
Huh? I don't know what you're saying. So besides the laser tag, Damien, for you, what do you think was your favorite 1980s toy that you got around the holidays?
Well, there's quite a few. But, as I was thinking about it this week, I have to say G.I. Joe was one of my favorite, toys and cartoons back especially in the early to mid 80s. Yeah. So a few of my favorite G.I. Joe toys that I got for Christmas would be, the one I could think of the most would be, it was a plane, but it was a Cobra plane.
Ooh.
It wasn't the G.I. Joe, it was the bad guys. Cobras were the bad guys.
Okay.
And it was called the Rattler.
The Rattler. Oh, that sounds like a bad person's a name of their fighting thing.
And it was based on a real jet called the A-10. And it's a low-flying jet that's made to, shoot tanks and stuff.
Okay.
And it was painted blue with, the Cobra emblem on the back. It's, it was really cool. It's really fun. A couple of the G.I. Joe figures that were my favorites that I also got for a few different Christmases were the Snake Eyes.
Okay, Snake Eyes,
It was a cool ninja. Everybody knows Snake Eyes.
Yep.
A lesser-known G.I. Joe was Flamethrower.
Ooh, Flamethrower.
Or actually, his nickname was Blowtorch, but he was a flamethrower.
Okay, Blowtorch.
And he was yellow and red, and he had a cool flamethrower.
See, when I was a kid, I didn't collect a lot of the I didn't have a lot of G.I. Joe stuff. I had the Star Wars figures, but I remember playing and just having them fight all the time and stuff like that. I had a friend that had G.I. Joes, and we used to fight our G.I. Joes versus our Star Wars figures. It was pretty awesome. It was a great time to be a kid in the 80s. Some such great toys. I remember getting an X-Wing fighter, one year. And but it's kind of cool that you mentioned the Cobra Jet, the Rattler, because it's always good to have the bad guys toy or whatever, just because it just makes it more fun to play with the toys,
Yeah, you can't just have all good guys. Who are they going to fight?
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So G.I. Joe toys for Damien. All right, so for me, Damien, I remember, gosh, I must have been, I think it was either 1983 or 1984. I think it was probably 83, and woke up Christmas morning, went out to my living room, and underneath the tree, opened up a present, and it was a ColecoVision. And I don't remember. Do you remember ColecoVision at all?
Yeah, my cousin had one. So I had an Atari. I couldn't remember if I had received the Atari in the late 70s or early 80s, but I do remember my cousin had a Coleco, and she got that in the 80s, and it was better than the Atari.
Yeah, dude. I had the Atari 2600. Actually, here's the crazy story. I still have both of my original Atari 2600 and my ColecoVision at my house right now. There's no way to connect it to a TV because you can't connect with an HDMI, but anyway, I have both of those still at home. But I remembered, pretty sure it was Christmas of '82. Got the ColecoVision, and it was just a step above, not much above, but a step above the Atari as far as graphics go and stuff like that. And I got several games. It came with a game called Ladybug. That was game. That was a game, and basically, which is a total ripoff of Pac-Man. I mean, it's basically so Ladybug running around eating pellets is what that was. But then also, I mean, maybe people don't know, but the first game system really you could play as Mario on anything was on the ColecoVision. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. were both on the original ColecoVision, and you could play them on that thing. And it wasn't for a couple more years before they Nintendo Entertainment NES came out with Nintendo, and you could play Mario and on Mario. But there was a couple of other fun games that I remember. One was called Zaxxon. It was like a jet, and you destroy buildings and stuff like that. One was called Burger Time. I don't know if you remember Burger Time.
I don't remember that one, no.
Burger Time is you had to like run across these levels and make hamburgers and hope that the hot dogs don't catch you. You know how it is. You don't want the hot dogs to catch you.
Training for a career.
Right, exactly. Mr. Do was also on.
Oh, I remember Mr. Do.
And then how about this one from the 1980s, which was pretty high tech, was Q*bert. I don't know if you remember Q*bert.
I had Q*bert for Atari.
Did you?
I believe Q*bert also had a Christmas special, if I'm not mistaken. I really like Q*bert.
It probably did. But Q*bert was awesome because it was the first time they tried to do 3D animation within and it was just cubes. I mean, it's just like drawing simple cubes on like a piece of paper or whatever. But those were some of my favorite games. And actually, one of my favorite games that I played on ColecoVision was a game called Popeye. Popeye actually had a video game on ColecoVision.
So did you have to eat spinach and stuff?
You had to go. It looked very similar to Donkey Kong, with the levels, or Burger Time with the levels, and you had to get the spinach and then punch a punching bag, but avoid Brutus to save olive oil.
So many of your games were food related.
Wow. Oh, man. So, we're going to hear from some of you in a second, but we also would like to hear from you on any of our social media platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. You can also email us. Let us know what your favorite 1980s Christmas gift or holiday gift was. We would love to hear from you and, hopefully maybe even talk about it on the show in the future.
Yeah, and if you have a favorite video game that you played, on a console that you got for Christmas too, let us know that. I have some fond memories, as you were talking about Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. I have fond memories of going over to my cousin Amber's house and playing her Coleco. She also had a really cool game. I remember it was a driving game, but it was one of the first ones that had not just a steering wheel, it had a gas pedal.
A gas pedal. I remember that.
And you could drive in the snow too. It was that was really fun.
Yeah, I do remember that as well.
It's called Turbo or something, maybe.
I think it is Turbo. I just saw it a second ago. I didn't have that, but that does sound awesome. But the other thing about just real quick about ColecoVision was when you held the control. So Atari had the single joystick with the single button. ColecoVision you kind of held in your hand, and it had a controller to move left, like right, up, and down. Yeah. But then it had two buttons. It had one button on each side. So it was the first game that I remember, or the first game system I remember that had 2 buttons rather than the single button.
So twice as many buttons as Atari and 1/10 of as many buttons as PlayStation 4.
That's true. That's true. All right, so we hit the streets and we asked some of our listeners what their favorite 1980s toys were around the holidays, and here's what they had to say. All right, ladies, what was your favorite 1980s holiday or Christmas gift?
I had to say the Rubik's Cube. It took a lot of time for me to figure out. My whole winter break during school vacation was spent on trying to figure that out.
And you?
Dukes of Hazzard Hot Wheel with a brake. Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, what was your favorite 1980s Christmas gift?
So I had Barbies, but in the same year that I got a Barbie mansion, I also got a Ken doll. So it was kind of cool for Barbie and me.
All right, there you go. Learning about life with Barbie and Ken. All right, what about you? What was your favorite 1980s Christmas gift?
Okay, I've got 2. So, 1, Cabbage Patch Dolls. Because if you know my mom, she fought in the store for a Cabbage Patch doll for me. So, and
you can listen all about the Cabbage Patch doll in episode 1.
And 2, there was stuffed Snoopies and Bells that you could buy outfits for. And I got an Elvis outfit for my Snoopy, and it was so great.
Elvis Snoopy, that'd be awesome. All right, and what about you? What was your favorite 1980s Christmas gift?
So I was a big He-Man collector. So whenever I got any He-Man figures, I got, that's what I wanted. So especially when I got the Tila figure, which is pretty nice.
Very nerdy of you, but that's awesome. All right, thanks.
We have a special holiday edition of 80s Urban Legend.
That's right. So the other day I was at the store and I saw an 80s iconic candy in the candy aisle. And it's actually Christmas flavored. Well, not Christmas flavored, but I found a couple of packets of Pop Rocks. Do you remember buying Pop Rocks back in the day, Damien? I remember like the ice cream man always had Pop Rocks and probably drugs and weapons.
Yeah, probably. They were the good humor trucks back east.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. So we just had the generic ice cream trucks. I always bought Pop Rocks. They basically explode in your mouth. And so I brought a couple packets with me today. And
they're candy cane flavor, and they may taste like Christmas. We're going to find out.
Christmas. But before we rip them open and have them, there was an 80s urban legend about the Pop Rocks. Do you want to talk about that, Damien?
Yeah. So do you remember the Life commercials? We touched on this. I think it was in episode 1.
Yeah.
The Life commercials with Mikey. Mikey likes it. Uh-huh. And the urban legend is that he one day he's a baller, right? Making tons of Life money. Took his Life cereal money, bought himself some Pop Rocks and some Coke, and he mixed them together, and his stomach exploded, and he died.
Yeah, yep. That I definitely remember hearing that. There was no, like we said before, there was no internet to check that, if that was true, whatever. But, you always knew some kid that you talked to about that was like, oh, no, I know because my aunt worked at the hospital where he went to. And, yeah, his stomach exploded with Coke and Pop Rocks. And so
we're going to find out if it's a true story.
We are.
And the listeners will know if we survive this, if there's a part 2 of our holiday special.
That's true. Okay, Damien, so it's tearing it open. Here's the sound of the. Yep, we're gonna pour it. Okay. Are you gonna dump it in the Coke? Or are you gonna?
I'm gonna dump it in my mouth and then drink the Coke in my mouth at the same time. We're gonna try it out.
You did a lot.
All right, here goes the Coke.
Man, that's kind of funny because I don't taste the candy cane, but
why is my stomach expanding?
I think it's from unhealthy eating, man.
Oh yeah, that's just my beer belly.
All right, so I recommend the Pop Rocks to people.
The candy cane flavor. It does taste like Christmas.
Yeah. So I should I say where I got them? Probably not because they're not sponsoring us.
Did you get them at Woolworth?
Yes, I got them at Woolworths. Oh, and so. Yeah, we would love to if you have a Pop Rock story, if you remember an urban legend, we'd love to hear from you as well. You can hit us up on the Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
It's 80s Show Podcast everywhere.
And you can email us at 80showpodcast@gmail.com.
And man, wait, hold on a second. We're getting I think we're getting a Christmas fax. Maybe it's from Santa Claus.
All right,
what does that
let's
say,
see.
Bill?
All right. Oh, okay. Apparently, Damien, I'm sorry. We have lost. Out of business, bankrupt. Okay. Explosions. Okay, so I guess Yugo is no longer in business.
Well, sounds like we ended up on Santa's naughty list. We lost another sponsor. Well
right.
done, Bill.
All right, yeah, it probably was me. Sorry about that. So, if you are interested in sponsoring the podcast, you can always email us at 80showpodcast@gmail.com. For the 80 Show Podcast, thank you once again for listening to our holiday special number 1. I am Bill Lassiter, and as Pac-Man says, waka, 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 waka.
And this is Damian Raffelli, and remember, knowing is half the battle. And don't forget to rate us on iTunes or Google Play or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. And please, please, it's the giving season. Tell a friend about the 80 Show Podcast. It's better than a gift card.
That's true.
Theme song composed by my good friend, fellow rock star, straight out of Bakersfield. You may also know him from the band Videodrone, Mark Russell Davis.